You know those times when you plan on going camping or boating but it's pouring down rain? So you just bail on those plans and do something else? Well, this time we're just like, whatever. We just went for it. The problem is, there's so much bad weather in the fall and winter time in Alaska that if you keep on waiting for the perfect day, you might not ever get out there. And this time, we really wanted to get out there. Our plan was to leave Thursday evening and get to our anchorage before it gets dark, and then hunt Friday and Saturday. To get to Eaglek Bay, head east through Passage Canal and continue east across Port Wells, cross the south side of Esther Island. After you pass Esther Island, turn toward the northeast and head through the Dutch Group. Watch your charts carefully as you traverse the Dutch Group because there are many small islands, reefs, rocks, and pinnacles underneath the surface. Next, head north into Eaglek Bay. Our goal was to anchor at the extreme north and east end of Eaglek Bay. We made it to the head of Eaglek Bay last night. It was really dark by the time we got in here, so we set anchor as quickly as we could and got the boat tucked away, got dinner, and pretty much headed to bed. But today I was hoping for a little bit more snow than rain. Snow is actually better than rain because you stay drier and you don't get as wet and cold. But the plan is after we get breakfast, we're gonna get the dinghy down, head all the way into the very end of this bay, and head up on land and start exploring around. The goal is that we make it all the way over into Seawash Bay. Seawash Bay empties into Eaglick Bay, and Eaglick Bay is just pretty amazing. It's just totally full of life. We're gonna walk around and see if we can spot any deer. Even if we don't see any deer, it's just it's pretty awesome being out here. I know it's not sunny, it's not warm, but it's still incredibly beautiful. So we're gonna dress warm, we're trying to stay dry, and we'll see how this goes. The head of Eaglek Bay terminates into a tidal lagoon. The unique features about this tidal lagoon is how narrow the entrance is, and then it opens up into a much larger lagoon. The lagoon can be navigated with a tender only at extreme high tides like a spring tide. A spring tide happens when the sun, the moon, and the earth all align, and this creates a greater gravitational pull on the earth, which results in higher tides. This happens roughly twice a month. We could not reach the lagoon today with a tender because the tide was not high enough to float over the rocks at the entrance. Both Eaglek Bay and Eaglick Bay run roughly parallel to each other in a north-south direction. The head of Eaglek Bay comes very close to the head of Seawash Bay, which is an appendage of Eaglick Bay. As we zoom into the land between Eaglek and Seawash, you can see that this area appears to be hikeable. I could not find anyone who's hiked this area to get any information about it, so I decided that we'd go and find out for ourselves. We secured the tender and started walking toward the direction of Seawash Bay. Seawash Bay is in an east direction from where we started, but in Alaska, you can never just hike in a straight line. You have to be very careful and pick your way through the terrain. I have two goals when choosing my route. First, don't get stranded on top of a sheer cliff. That might sound obvious, but in Prince William Sound, a sheer cliff will appear out of nowhere, and it can be very difficult to navigate around. Second, I want to minimize bushwhacking through thick brush. The thick brush can be horribly frustrating to try and walk through, but some bushwhacking through thick brush is inevitable, but we try and minimize it. There was more climbing and elevation gain than I anticipated, but it was manageable. The rain was pouring down all day, and the weather was definitely not ideal, but we have this saying in our family that was handed down from my mom, who loves the TV series Lonesome Dove. In that movie, they buried a friend, and on the tombstone they inscribed the quote, "He was cheerful in all weather."
What's it read, Gus? It says, Josh Dietz served with me 30 years, fought 21 engagements with the Comanche and the Kiowa. Cheerful in all weather. Never shirked a task. Splendid behavior. That's what it says.
My mom loved this quote, and she would tell this to us all the time growing up. We're happy in all sorts of weather. She still tells me this quote to this day. But the saying is full of wisdom, and it was expected of myself and my brothers and sisters that we consciously chose to be happy, even if it was raining, snowing, hot or cold outside. We made it to the top of the overlook and could see all of Seawash Bay, and we could also see the river basin of Seawash Bay. In fact, we could see all the way into Eaglick Bay. We stayed at the top of this overlook for a couple of hours spotting for deer, but unfortunately, we didn't see any deer. After a couple of hours of looking for deer, we headed back down to the head of Eaglick Bay. We saw a lot of game trails, but we actually didn't see that much sign of deer. Once we got to the head of Eaglick Bay, I realized, oh my gosh, I literally forgot my backpack at the top of the overlook. I was so busy helping my kids get their backpacks ready and doing some filming that I forgot my bag at the top.
Alright, well, I forgot my backpack at the very top of this mountain between Eaglek Bay and Seawash Bay. So I'm heading back probably a mile into this. And everybody else is waiting down in Eaglek Bay, so kind of off by myself right now. But we're making it happen. Yeah, here we go. This is fun. Following these game trails. But I gotta pay attention though. Yeah, I'm going the right way. Focus. Right over there, that ridge. That's where I need to go. Still following the game trail. Alright, let's make this happen. Alright, I really hope the backpack's over here because I just walked all the way back here. Not trying to make excuses or anything, but you know, I am helping the kids non-stop load and unload their packs, so I guess I was helping them and forgot about my own pack. I really hope it's here. It should be by that tree right there. I really hope it's there. Oh good, there it is. Whew. And we got it. Hello, Seawash Bay, and hello my backpack. Let me back up here. It's monster time. Yeah, I'm gonna do it, I don't care. Everybody can wait for me for a few minutes. Oh, here we go. There's a glacier up in that valley back there. The little peak over here that it's up in the clouds. It's like, seriously, it looks like the Matterhorn. We're still finding this game trail. This is the bushwhacking part of this game trail. But this is my third time on it. And this game trail has been really helpful. So we're gonna stick with it. I don't know if you can make out the trail, but it's actually a pretty nice little trail here. And again, it's the exact same spot I've come the third time. All right, we got to the head of the lake here. Now, we're gonna head down a little stream. It was pretty on the way coming up, so hopefully you get a good look at it on the way down. We're going right down it.
The tide dropped at least 10 feet while we were walking around, and we had to pull our tender back into the water. We didn't see any deer today, and everybody was soaking wet at the end of the day, but everybody was also happy and having a great time. Once back at the boat, we dried off and started making dinner. The next morning, we made the decision to find a different location to hunt for deer because we really didn't find much signs of deer at Eaglick Bay. We made the decision to go to Naked Island and hunt there for the day. Naked Island is due south of Eaglick Bay. The rain cleared away to blue skies, but high winds kicked up, and we had 6-foot seas crossing into Naked Island. We anchored in McPherson Bay on the north side of Naked Island. The anchorage was completely protected from the high winds, and we had a calm water in the bay despite 6-foot seas.
Got the boat anchored out. It's pretty rough seas getting here. That kind of sucked. Hopefully it calms down. It's supposed to calm down later today. All right, let's do this. Anders? Any words? All right, let's do this. It's like a temperate rainforest back here with all this moss. All right, we're about halfway up the hill, about halfway up to the saddle area that we want to get to. Here are the boys coming through a creek right here. We're still making our way up. We have got about halfway up.
Once we got on the Naked Island, we hiked to the top of the island and made a large loop around the island and back to the bay that we started in. We saw a lot of signs of fresh deer tracks and fresh deer poop, and we even saw one deer for just a brief second, but the deer in Prince William Sound are sneaky ninjas. They are very difficult to spot, especially when you're in the thick brush or up on the mountain terrain. They're very hard to see.
Caribou, if we see ravens buzzing around, it's almost inevitable that there's caribou here. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna buzz around and squawk and listen. Oh yeah, caribou, if we see ravens.
Although we didn't shoot a deer, we had a fantastic trip and saw some of the most beautiful scenery in the world. I can't wait to get back out here again. But to be honest, the deer in Prince William Sound are sneaky little ninjas.
All right, guys.
You've never actually done
Come in. How was it?
Awesome.
Any last words?
Good.
other than my headache.
We're actually getting back to our boat. There we go.